We continue now at the top of Daf Lamed Vav Amid Aleph and Meseches Nazir. This is Nazir Daf 36a. And the previous summit of Yochanan said that we don't find that heter is mitzdarif le'isr except by Nazir, because by Nazir it says even if you have something that is soaked in wine, that is also going to be prohibited. And the Gemara here continues, Ze'iri Amar Ze'iri says, no, af sa'or beval taktiru. We find the same thing by leaven. It says you're not allowed to burn it on the mizbeach. There also we say that heter is mitzdarif le'isr. Rashi says, Ze'iri Amar af sa'or beval taktiru she'ilu ein b'sa'or kazayis. Let's have a kazayis in the sa'or. V'isa mashlimu l'chazayis. And the isa, the dough, it completes it and it makes it a kazayis. Shu chayiv, the person would be chayiv. V'yover mishum shenemar kol sa'or v'chol devash lo saktir. The person would transgress that which it says in the pasuk, sa'or is not allowed to be burned on the mizbeach. And the Gemara continues, Keman, who does that follow? Rabbi Eliezer, that follows Rabbi Eliezer, the Dorish Kol. He darshans the word Kol. Rashi over here says, Keman Rabbi Eliezer, the Dorish Kol, Lagabe Chometz. The word Kol is written by Chometz. Beperak Elu over in Bepesach. This is found in Meseches Psachim, the Katani Vale, Ruvo Belav, Divrei Rabbi Eliezer. It says that let's say you have something that's a mixture containing Chometz, that's also going to be prohibited with a negative commandment. The pasuk says Kol. But if we're following here Rabbi Eliezer, who says that we understand the pasuk by Sa'or to even include a mixture, just like we find the word Kol in the pasuk by Chametz. So hiyachi if so le'inyan Chametz nami. You should say the same thing by Chametz also. The prohibition of Chametz on Pesach should be another situation where heter is mitzdarif le'isr. And the Gemara says to that, in hachinami, indeed, that actually is correct. Elala fuke me Abaya, but actually the point of Ze'iri is to exclude that from that which Abaya said. The Yomar yesh haktar b'pachas mikazayis, because Abaya says that when it comes to the prohibition of burning things on the mizbeach, it's considered a prohibition. It's considered haktara. It's considered burning, a significant thing, even when it's less than a kazayis. Meaning, according to Abaya, you don't even need a shear. Kamash malan. That's what Ze'iri is teaching us. Ein haktar. It's not considered a significant haktara if it's less than a kazayis. That's why, according to the Iri, you need to have a kazayis. The Iri is just saying it even counts as a kazayis when you have the heter that's mitzdaref le'isr, when that which is permitted can join together with that which is prohibited. And Rashi over here says, if that's the case, that Ze'iri is following Rabbi Eliezer Shita, darshaning the word Kol, it's true also by Chametz on Pesach. He should say the same thing. You should be chayiv on this mixture because it says the word Kol. And the Gemara says, indeed that's true. When it comes to Chametz and Pesach also, heter is mitzdaref le'isr, Rabbi Eliezer, like Rabbi Eliezer says. And the reason why he made a statement specifically by Sa'or, by Baal Taktiru, Mishum, the reason is Lafuke de Abaya, to exclude Abaya's position. To Yomar b'Meseches Menachas yesh haktara b'pachas mikazayis. He says there's a din haktara even less than a kazayis. Kamash malon. So Ze'iri is teaching us midibu'inon tzira, from the fact that we require the concept of tziruf to join the heter to the iser. The ein haktara b'pachas mikazayis, that it would be nothing if it's less than a kazayis. Ve'ein chayiv alelam ken yehebo kazayis. O sheyeh heter mashlimu lechazayis. You're only going to be chayiv in that case by haktara if it actually has a kazayis, or if the heter completes the shear of a kazayis. But the point that Ze'iri is making is that you need the shear, you need the measurement of a kazayis. And the Gemara continues, Yosef Rav Dimi v'ka'amar lo l'hashmaita. Rav Dimi was sitting, and he was saying over this teaching of Rabbi Yochanan that only when it comes to Nazir do we say that heter is mitzdaref le'isr. Eisvei Abai, and Abai asks the following question from a Mishnah in Tvul Yom. Hamikveh shel truma, let's say a person has a thick soup that is made of truma, v'hashum v'hashemen shel chulin, but the garlic and the oil in the soup, that's chulin, that's not truma. V'naga Tvul Yom b'miksasin, and in Tvul Yom is somebody who's waiting for the end of the day to be totally pure. He is still somewhat tamei, so he touches part of it. So pasal is kulin. He disqualifies the entire thing. Generally, a tvul yom disqualifies truma, and this is considered a food of truma. Let's say it would be the other way around. Mikvah shel chulin. Let's say it's a thick soup of chulin. V'hashum v'hashemen shel truma, and the garlic and the oil is truma. So really, only that small part of it is truma. V'naga tvul yom b'miksasan, and the tvul yom touches part of it. The halach is lo pasal ela makam mago. He's only going to disqualify the area which he touched. And the Gemara says, V'havinam, but we ask on that Mishnah in Tvul Yom, Mokom Mago, on my puzzle, why is it that the area that's touched, why is it disqualified? V'yom Rabba Bar Bar Chana Rabbi Yochanan, and Rabba Bar Bar Chana said that Rabbi Yochanan said, Ma'atam hoel v'zor lo kala b'kazayis. What's the reason? It's because if a zor, if a non-Kohen would eat this mixture, this thick soup, so if he would eat a kazayis, he would actually get malchus. It would be considered to be truma. And that's why in this situation, when the Tvul Yom touches part of this mikvah shel chulin, which has some garlic and oil of truma, even though you might have thought that the garlic and the oil of truma is totally insignificant, it's not insignificant. A zor gets malchus if he eats a kazayis of this thick soup. It's considered to have the status of truma in that regard, and the same thing is true when the Tvul Yom touches part of it. It's considered to have the status of truma, and that area that was touched, that's going to be disqualified. And the Gemara says, my time is, so what is the reason for this? Why is it that a zor gets malchus when he has a kazayis of this thick soup over here? And the Rosh explains, ha-mikvah tavshil of v'kofu, you could go in daisa v'chayotze, again, the mikvah refers to a thick soup, v'hashum v'hashemen hanesunim bo l'tavlin hem shel chulin, and then you have the garlic and the oil in there, that was put in there as spices, that is chulin, that is not truma, so pasal akol, so in that case, where the thick soup itself is truma, the whole thing is disqualified. To mikvah ikru tvul yom posel as truma, because the thick soup, that's the ikr, and a tvul yom in general disqualifies truma, it's considered truma. And then the Gemara says that we ask on this in the situation where the soup itself is chulin and just the shum and the shemen are truma. Makom mago, am I puzzle? Why is even the area that was touched? Why is that disqualified? Habeteli luhu tavlin baruba. Aren't the spices batal barov? Aren't they nullified? Right now we think that these kind of mixtures are prohibited on a derabanan level. And Rabba Bar Bar Chana says no, this mixture is actually prohibited on a doraisa level. If a zor would have to have a kazayis of it, he'd get malchus. Mishum the shame truma, it's considered truma. Hilkach legabe tuma nami shame truma. Therefore, in terms of truma, tuma also, it's considered to be truma, and therefore we're going to say that it's disqualified the part that is touched. But we're not so strict like it would be actual truma lifsal kula to disqualify the entire mixture. Kedeperish Rashi b'psachim. That Rashi explains in Meseches Psachim. And the Rosh continues that the Gemara will go on to say, "Umay taima zor lokela bekazayis mishum zorus halo achal kazayis truma." In this case, if he has the mikvah of chulin, which is mixed with some truma, why does the non-kohen get malchus if he has a kazayis? He hasn't actually had a kazayis of truma. The Gemara will say, "Lav mishum the heter mitzdarif leisser." Aren't we saying over here as well that heter is mitzdarif leisser? And we will continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Lamed Vav Amud Beis.